This classic episode of the Electric Playground is brought to you by P&P Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support Electric Playground. Remember, this episode first aired in 1997.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Well, I understand there's going to be a baseball extravaganza on your show this week, and I wanted to dress for the part.
Oh, gotcha.
Also, some about Goldeneye and James Bond, and something about the game Uprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Electronic Playground this week.
Electric Playground.
The Electric Playground, so I want to get back in time to watch it.
Okay. Nice flip-flops.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tommy Tallarico. I've been writing music for video games for over 7 years now, and I gotta tell you, it is one of the coolest industries on the entire planet. Now we're gonna take you inside the world of video games, like no one else has ever done before. Now throw in weekly reviews of the hottest new games, and you got what we call the Electric Playground.
Stadium. In today's game, the New York Yankees take on the Oakland Athletics.
This is as real as it gets. I'm here with the world champion New York Yankees, and we're talking about baseball and video games.
Donkey, come here. We got to talk about our Resident Evil game, bro. What? Resident Evil. Hold that.
This just came out.
Big Bernie on the cover.
Big Bernie's on the cover.
Where's he at? Here, Bernie.
Have you seen that yet? Have you played?
Big Bernie!
There he is, right there.
Bernie, come here, man.
Baseball has always been one of America's pastime, but you know, video games are catching up pretty good, huh? Here with Andy Pettit, Kenny Rogers. What's your favorite game?
I like Resident Evil.
Resident Evil on the PlayStation.
Yeah, it took us about 3 months to finish it, but we used the book.
You guys aren't very good.
No,
3
but
months?
we're baseball players.
Cool. Actually, I'll stretch with you guys.
All right.
I'm going to leave this whole video game music thing, and I got a tryout with the Yankees in a couple of weeks, and we're doing this thing here, okay?
We're here in the largest motion capture facility in the world, where some of the hottest Major League Baseball players are about to start practicing and getting into their black little suits to get set for their motion capture. Check it out.
Motion capture is when you put markers onto actors and have them go through movement, and then you feed that spatial information from those markers into a computer and then build a spline-based skeleton on those movements.
We're here with Carlos Reyes from the Oakland Athletics.
What kind of video games do you like?
Triple Play 98's the bomb.
What system?
Sony PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah.
How much you play that?
Every day.
Do you ever play baseball games on the PlayStation?
No, I'm not really, when it comes to sports, I don't know why. For some reason, I'm more into the action fighting and all that stuff.
You guys both say N64 is where it's at?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Because the graphics are way better than PlayStation.
No loading.
You
No
know?
loading.
No
loading.
loading.
You guys say what?
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
You guys say what?
64. Killer
64. No, there's no games on Nintendo 64.
What do you guys? You guys say what do you guys?
Wait till Chris.
Look what you started, huh? Look what you started here, huh?
What kind of video games do you play?
I don't. Sorry.
Did you guys play on the road at all? When I know you travel a lot?
Yeah, I take it everywhere I go. I take it.
Really?
It keeps me out of trouble. I stay home and have a good time. I love it. I mean, I stay 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing it.
Excellent. This is Tommy Tallarico from the Electric Playground, and stay tuned, because the game's about to begin.
Again? Hi, I'm Paul. Friends call me Paulie B. And I've been Lord D's maintenance guy for the past 2.5 years. Yeah, got another call about the washing machine today. You never believe the stuff I pull out of there. Health power-ups in the pockets again. I'm telling you, I'm finding things like this constantly. I keep telling him, it's gonna block up your whole system, back the whole thing up. And the blood, it's been every day with the blood.
assuming we're out here at the ball game, why don't we do a comparison head-to-head between MLB 98 and Triple Play 98?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
I want some of those peanuts first, man.
Oh, sure.
Let's go.
Both of these games, Triple Play 98 and MLB 98, are the two best baseball games ever made for the PlayStation.
Graphics.
First of all, I think you can all see that the graphics in Triple Play are a little bit smoother, a little more rounded, a little more realistic. The shading is nicer than the graphics in MLB 98.
Disagree. I think the graphics are slightly better in there, but I think the images are sharper in here. And then the motion capture is just amazing. Triple Play 98 is great motion capture, but not as good as MLB 98.
I tell you, they're going to have to bundle up tonight. A lot of turtlenecks out there on that field.
Cold and windy for this game.
Well, let's talk about the sound.
Oh man, no contest. The sounds in Triple Play kick.
The announcer in Triple Play is very detailed, very excellent.
Uh-oh, runner's in trouble.
MLB 98 also has great sound.
Popped it up.
But Triple Plays, because that commentator play-by-play is pretty excellent.
Well, what it's got is two people in the booth giving the commentary, and it's got stuff where they say the last time this guy was bad, he hit a double.
The most important part of any sports game, and anyone will tell you this, is gameplay. And that's where MLB 98 has Triple Play beat. It's very easy to make a play in the infield. You know, when you hit the ball, you can move your shortstop over and turn a double play real quick. I found it difficult to do that in Triple Play. It's very hard. In the outfield it's easy, but it's very hard to make a play in the infield because the camera seems to like follow the ball.
It's all a camera angle thing. But you're right, some of the camera angles make it more difficult to play, so I would give MLB the slight edge for gameplay.
Now the controls
yes.
for MLB 98, I know we differ a little bit here. I personally like, in MLB 98, when you want to press the base that you want to throw to or run to, you actually press the button, because on the PlayStation controller, you have the 4 buttons set up just like a diamond. So the top button is second base, this is third base, and this is home. I personally love that. You press one button to throw to a base, whereas in Triple Play, you have to press the action button and then the direction on the pad.
Yeah, but every baseball game, you press one button and it's hit right to the base. You press the one button, you point where you want to throw it to, and that's where it goes.
Right, that's why this one's better, because it's a little more different and innovative.
Well, yeah, you play this game and you got to have like a computer programming degree to understand all the mapping of the buttons. There's so many
mapping. You press the top button to go to second, you press the bottom button to go to home. You got to be a programmer, what?
Nice game.
One thing that I will give you is that I think the features in Triple Play 98 are a bit better. Like you have, one thing I love is instant replay, which that has.
Well, not only instant replay, this game's got 8 players at a time, can play at the same time.
Yeah, because you always play with 8 people. That happens all the time, I'm sure.
Well, if you got friends, you do.
The cover of my game looks better than yours, all right? MLB, you got my boy Bernie Williams here. Tell me, Vic, who is that on the cover?
I don't know. Do you guys know who this guy is? He's a Cardinal, and I have to admit, Bernie Williams on the cover.
All right, Bernie Williams, the boy, the Yankees rock.
Batting third, Bernie Williams.
What would you give that game?
This game gets a 9.2.
Okay.
That game there gets an 8.9.
All right, I'd give Triple Play 98 a 9, and I'd give MLB 98 8.5. Very close.
Yeah.
You got to try them.
Great games.
Hey, what's going on here?
And get ready for...
EP's here at the MuchMusic Video Awards. Do you play any video games?
We're there.
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, we only play 4-player games, like Mario Kart, things like that, because there are 5 of us, but only 4 of us play at a time.
Pong?
Defender and Pac-Man.
Super Pong.
Actually, Virtua Fighter, I have to say, is pretty cool.
I don't know, I kind of like the old ones.
Pong is one of my favorites. Mr. Pong's Chinese food video game. Amazing. The sweet and sour tennis bats are amazing.
My name's David Usher from the band Moist.
Bruce Gordon, band's I'm Mother Earth.
John from the Doughboys. Actually, on the bus we play Nintendo 64 all the time. We play Star Fox.
Someone from EMI bought us a Sega Saturn for our tour bus.
Well, have you tried Goldeneye? Because that's a 4-player.
Is it a 4-player?
Yeah.
Well, we definitely will, because I didn't know it was. We get every 4-player game there is, so that's the next on the list.
Are you guys being approached to do the soundtrack for any video games?
Well, you know, it's funny because I was just talking to I don't know what he does, but I just did the music for a new Bruce McDonald movie, and we were talking about doing like music for video games and what a cool idea it would be.
Has Rusty decided to do any soundtracks for video games?
For video games?
Yeah.
No, we haven't decided. I have never been asked to do that. That would be really fun, actually.
If you could create a video game about your band, what kind of adventure would you take your band on?
You would have to go to a lot of different worlds. You go from space to underground, all different places. Underwater. You want to go to many different worlds, many different environments. That's the main thing.
If I could make a video game, it would be something that doesn't have to necessarily do with shooting people.
Do you play any PlayStation games?
No. You know why?
No.
Because I don't have PlayStation.
I think they should make a video game of, like, you know how they have those sim games, you know, where you build a town?
Yeah.
Well, I think you have a music one where you build a career, you know? And you have a band, like, just starting out. It's like, oh, damn, the bus broke down. What do you do?
Something to do with music. How about that? Something to do with dancing. A dancing video game. That's what we do. Yeah! All right.
Stay tuned. The Electric Playground will be right back.
When Cyclone Studios produced Battlesport on the 3DO, many people thought they couldn't top themselves. Well, they're about to do just that with their latest game entitled Uprising.
Uprising is a new kind of game. It's a blend of action and strategy. The best kind of action you find in a game like Quake, the best kind of strategy that you find in a game like Warcraft or Command & Conquer. You're down on the field, you see your troops running by you, you see bombers overhead, you hear all the sound effects, it's like you are there. You play most of the game from the perspective of a high-tech tank called a Wraith, and jump into the perspective of citadel towers. These are like big gun towers that can defend your land. It's now online, and it's looking for anybody to attack. It's going to start kind of patrolling the skies, moving around. On the surface, it's an action game, you know, and you'll be driving around and you'll see all these enemies and you'll be shooting at them, but the real way to succeed at the game is by commanding all these other forces. Now let me just take care of these guys. They're stupid enough to attack a tank, not very smart. Finally, a game that wasn't you against 50 million other pieces. We really wanted you to feel that, you know, you were part of this allied force, and you're playing a big part in it, but, you know, you really have to use its entire resources, these bombers, these jets, these troops, these allied tanks, as part of your offense. Cyclone's a small company. We really need to put a lot of wood behind one arrowhead, so instead of doing a game for 3 different platforms and just really spreading our resources thin, we want to just pick the right one and just, you know, put all our efforts behind that. I mean, personally, for me, I just love, you know, making games, and I love the high-level concept of, you know, a game like, okay, we want this game to feel this way or that way. It's okay if I'm not involved in all the creative details. I just want to believe in the spirit of the game. And as we've gotten bigger, you know, we've been doing more games, and so, you know, we have one game in one genre that I really like and another game in the genre that I'm really crazy about, and so, you know, it's just a great time.
When the first World Series baseball game came out for the Saturn, it was one of the greatest baseball games ever. And then the next year, it got even better than that. Now, World Series Baseball 98 uses 3D polygons instead of 2D sprites. Let's see how it's changed the game.
What we can see in the background here is World Series Baseball 98. We've gone with a polygonal version, keeping the same engine, but upgrading it to polygon characters. I think the sprite base had a nice, clean, polished look to it and worked really well. What we wanted to do is continue the realism, the authenticity of the sport.
So what do polygons offer that sprites can't?
Motion capture and more realistic movement. If I'm shortstop and throwing the ball to first stop and second baseman's in the way, he's going to duck.
Jumping up to catch the ball.
Jumping up to catch the ball, the sliding, the banging the bat on the ground when they strike out, the kick in the dirt, facial expressions.
What about gameplay enhancements? What's different with it that way?
Gameplay has stayed pretty much the same, except we've upgraded a little bit and made it more realistic as far as the pitching style isn't just any pitcher can do every style of pitcher. It's more based on what the pitcher really has in his arsenal. You're going to get the true fastball from Randy Johnson. You're going to get Nomo's outrageous swing and wind up. So it's more realistic all
It's got
around.
a more simulation kind of
Right.
feel to it.
And I think some people like the arcadiness, and that's still in there. We didn't completely break away from that, but we've just upgraded to more of an authentic lineup, which is pretty much our overall theme. Initially, people were like, well, you know, it doesn't look necessarily as clean. It looks really cool, and I think it looks great. It's just, it's a difference, and it takes a little while adjusting to it. But overall, once you play it, it's like, wow, this is really cool. This is realistic. This is true baseball.
EP talked to Ken Lobb of Nintendo about James Bond's newest adventure, Goldeneye, for the Nintendo 64, developed by Rare.
Tallarico, Tommy Tallarico. You know, being a villain is a very competitive business these days.
You know, I was bummed because the guys got to meet the Bond girls. And
I was invited to come. I love to play Nintendo, and I love this game.
We're able to give players a really lifelike scenario. The enemies look like real people. The environment that you play in is an actual blueprint from the movie Goldeneye 007. And in essence, you're there. You are James Bond.
You play the game a lot and you watch the movie, it's like, been in that room, seen that light switch, you know, this texture is taken right from the movie, for example. I mean, and I went to an arcade show in Japan and I met Tim and Chris Stamper along with Mr. Takeda, who was the guy who headed up the development of the Nintendo 64. And after the show, we went to NCL, and Mr. Takeda, being very technical, had already been to Rare and he knew that this was going on, but he hadn't seen it, you know, actually in that state of a complete level. I found through white paper testing that a lot of the people were failing on the earlier missions, not just because the missions were hard, but because they were having trouble figuring out the mission objectives. On top of that, it wasn't just figuring out the mission objectives, they were trying to learn the lay of the land. You know, they were lost and trying to figure out mission objectives, and they're getting destroyed by these incredibly intelligent enemies. So it was pretty obvious to me, why don't we just remove some of the mission objectives from the earlier levels? The other thing we did with Goldeneye, which is very important, is even when you earn the codes, you cannot use the codes in the regular game. What happens is, as soon as you go to the code screen and bring up a code, you get a special cheat level select, and you can only go back to the levels you've already beat. So you can't use codes to earn other codes, and you can't use codes to beat the game.
I think it will give you a pretty good feeling. I've tried the game, and I really got caught up in the suspense and the intrigue, and I really felt as though I was part of this world. I felt like I was making the movie again.
One of the things I pushed for early on was also the lean and duck. When you play these games, a lot of times what you're doing is finding a corner and then strafe right, strafe left, strafe right, strafe left. So I thought it would be kind of cool to be able to do what you always see in the movies, which is hide behind something and kind of, you know, pop out, bang, 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 and then be able to immediately pop back to exactly where you were standing. And then to be able to do this in a way that when you pop out, you're always aiming at the exact same point as, you know, so it's something that's highly repeatable. You know, what they did with the AI of the enemies and the way that they hear and see you, what they've done with the idea of the cameras, you know, the idea of what am I doing with these missions that are somewhat obscure and yet they tie in so well with the movie. You know, you really feel like you're James Bond when you play this game, and that's just because you're not just looking for a key, and you don't want to shoot everybody because people might hear you, or they might see you shooting someone and then go hit an alarm and then the enemies come en masse and you're in trouble.
Don't move a muscle. Our reviews are coming right up.
Past and present games located at 2609 Portage Avenue in Winnipeg is our second of 3 retail locations. You'll find a great selection of video games, both retro and contemporary. Save $5 Canadian on your purchase of $100 or more at pnpgamesonline.com with code StarFox64. Now back to the show.
This is a great outlet. I think it's kind of a specious or fatuous set of reasonings to blame video games for people who have not been brought up correctly. It all starts with a good household and an upbringing. I love the violence in video games, and I've never perpetrated any sort of violent crime on anyone in my life, and don't plan that I ever will. So I don't think it's the bugaboo.
Today on the Simpatico Question of the Week, Kevin Spencer asks, why can't we buy more video game music?
Over in Japan, hundreds of thousands of video game music CDs are sold, Final Fantasy being one of the more popular ones. Over in Europe, they take video game music and do dance remixes on them and play them in nightclubs. Now over here in North America, it hasn't really caught on yet, but if you go online, you can find a lot of different websites that'll actually sell all the video game soundtracks, including the very first musician to ever come out with a CD worldwide, Capitol Records. And you can also find Tommy Tallarico, Greatest Hits Volume 2.
Hey, don't forget to send your questions to ep.simpatico.ca.
World Series Baseball 98 for the Saturn.
On the Sega Saturn. This has always been one of the best titles, I believe, for the Sega Saturn. This year they went with 3D polygonal dudes. The stadiums are rendered beautifully. They have every single stadium in the league. The one thing about the graphics, the bat looked like they were holding like a big 2x4. But aside from that, the graphics were excellent.
That's got potential.
The sound was okay. The music was a little funky because they had to go with MIDI and a lot of this stuff. But aside from that, a solid title. You know, I give it an 8.9.
Yeah. I think I kind of preferred the old World Series baseball games. I liked 97 and the first one on the Saturn. They were both really cool. I love the new one too, but I think the polygon stuff was kind of unnecessary. It looks slick. I like the new camera options that they have, and it's got these cool little cinema intros.
Right.
I agree with you with the 2x4. I like the new I like the new pitching options. I think that gives it a little more simulation feel. But I still prefer the old World Series. I'd say it's 8.5.
Goldeneye on the N64. Now,
sweet game.
To me, Goldeneye is the best N64 game out. I put it above Mario. I put it above Wave Race. I mean, the texture maps, the graphics on this thing are excellent. Now, and I usually do not like the Doom Quakes. I don't go, bonkers for them like everyone else does. This game I did. The sound effects are just amazing. Of course, you got the whole Bond story and the characters there. It's so excellent. The missions are well thought out. The intros and little cut sequences are excellent. I would totally give a 9.4 to GoldenEye.
Wow, that's
absolutely.
A high score. Yeah, I love the game too. I think it's better than Turok, and I loved Turok. There's a lot more complexity in this game. The graphics are incredible. It's easy to see that the second generation Nintendo 64 games have got some killer visual. And it's true to the genre. I think it's the best Bond game that's ever been produced. And the 4-player options are amazing. Really cool.
I like the way you can take the gun and when you hit different ricochets, you hear the sound. And I mean, you can ricochet the wall, go back, and the bullet holes will still be in there, or the wooden crates, and you get the different sounds and everything. It's excellent.
And all the weapons. Yeah, I'd give it a 9.5.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our baseball extravaganza. I'm going to play me the very first video game ever of all time. It's called Computer Space, a simulated space battle that pits computer-guided saucers against a rocket ship that you control. I'll see you later.
Production assistance for the Electric Playground was provided by Nintendo of Canada and Heat.net.
All right, World Series Baseball 98 for the Saturn.
On the Sega Saturn has got to be. Well, can we hear over this? Continue dancing?
This classic episode of the Electric Playground was brought to you by P&P Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support the Electric Playground. Thanks for watching, and play forever.